Let me ask you something. What if the very thing that's breaking your heart right now is actually setting you free? What if rejection, yes, even from your own child, is not a curse but a blessing? I know it hurts. I know it feels unfair, but listen to me. This is not the end. This is your wake-up call. Life isn't about who walks away. It's about who you become when they do. This is your moment to rise, to reclaim your power, to stop seeking validation and start living with unstoppable purpose. Are you ready to turn pain into power? Rejection is one of the most painful experiences a person can face, especially when it comes from someone you love unconditionally, your own child. You spent years raising them, making sacrifices and giving them your all, only to find yourself pushed away in your old age. It feels like betrayal, it feels like failure, but let me tell you something. This rejection is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something much more powerful. Life has a way of using pain as a tool for transformation. Think about it. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in human history came from moments of hardship and rejection. Whether it's a business leader, an artist, or a revolutionary thinker, rejection has always been the fire that forges greatness. The difference between those who let rejection break them and those who let it build them is simple: perspective. So let's shift your perspective. Right now, it may seem like you've lost something irreplaceable. And while that relationship with your child may not look the way you imagined, this moment is an invitation to something greater. It's a call to rise, to evolve, to embrace a deeper understanding of who you are beyond being a parent. See, we often wrap our entire identity around our roles: parent, provider, protector. But what happens when that role changes? What happens when the people you gave everything to no longer acknowledge your presence in their lives the way you expected? That's when you have a choice. You can either let it define you as a victim, or you can recognize it as a powerful moment of self-discovery. Because here's the truth. Your worth is not determined by someone else's acceptance of you. Read that again. Let it sink in. Too many people spend their lives trying to prove their value to those who will never see it, rather than embracing the fact that their value was never up for debate in the first place. Just because your child has distanced themselves from you does not mean you are unworthy of love, respect, and happiness. It simply means life is pushing you in a different direction, one that is meant for your own personal growth. So this isn't about blaming your child, and it's not about drowning in sorrow. It's about realizing that rejection is often redirection. The universe, God, life, whatever you believe in, is shifting you towards something that will serve you in a new way. And if you lean into that shift, instead of resisting it, you'll begin to see the unexpected blessings that come with it. Think about this. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself? When was the last time you invested in your own happiness, your own goals, your own personal evolution? For decades, your identity revolved around being a parent. But now you have an opportunity to redefine what life means for you. Maybe it's time to explore new passions, reconnect with old dreams, or build relationships that bring joy without conditions. And here's another powerful realization. Rejection forces you to find strength within. When the people we expect to stand by us walk away, we are left with no choice but to become our own source of power. And that is the greatest gift of all, because once you learn to stand strong within yourself, no external rejection can ever shake you again. You become unbreakable. So what do you do now? You take back control. You refuse to let someone else's choices dictate your sense of worth. You stop waiting for validation and start creating a life that fulfills you on your terms. There is still so much love in the world for you, whether it's through friendships, new experiences, or even contributing your wisdom to help others. But you'll never see those opportunities if you stay stuck in the pain of rejection. Rejection is not a curse, it's a calling to rise higher, to embrace independence, and to rediscover the limitless power that has been inside you all along. This moment is not the end of your journey. It's the start of the most profound transformation of your life. The question is, are you ready to embrace it? We grow up believing that love is about attachment, that our connections define us, and that our role in others' lives determines our worth. As parents, this belief runs even deeper. You pour your heart, soul, and years of effort into raising your child, thinking that this relationship will always be your anchor. And then one day, they reject you, distance themselves, cut off communication, or treat you as if you no longer matter. It's crushing. It makes you question everything. But here's the truth you need to understand. Your worth was never meant to be measured by someone else's acceptance of you. It's easy to get lost in the identity of being a parent. For years, maybe decades, your focus was on providing, protecting, and shaping someone else's life. Every decision you made revolved around their well-being. But what happens when they no longer acknowledge the sacrifices, the love, or even your presence? If your sense of worth was tied to that relationship, it's natural to feel empty, lost, or unappreciated. But that feeling, that is the illusion society has programmed into you. The reality is, your value has always existed beyond your role as a parent. Think about it. Before you had children, before you took on the responsibilities of guiding someone else's life, you were a whole person. You had dreams, passions, and a sense of self that wasn't tied to whether or not someone needed you. That person still exists, that worth still exists, but sometimes it takes the shock of rejection to remind you that you are not just a parent, you are an individual with a life of your own. Rejection is painful, but it's also an invitation to rediscover who you are beyond the labels you've carried for so long. This isn't about letting go of love for your child. It's about recognizing that their choices do not define your significance. Your identity is not something they have the power to take away from you. If they choose to push you away, that does not mean you are unworthy of love, happiness, or respect. It simply means that life is redirecting you toward a deeper understanding of yourself. And here's where the real power lies. When you detach your self-worth from external relationships, you become unshakable. No longer are you waiting for someone's validation to feel whole. No longer are you depending on someone's presence to feel fulfilled. You take back your power, you stop chasing approval, and in doing so, you become truly free. Now let's talk about what happens next. Because it's one thing to understand this concept, it's another to live it. When rejection happens, you have two choices. You can stay stuck in the pain, replaying every moment in your mind, questioning what you did wrong, hoping for things to change. Or you can take a deep breath and recognize that this is your opportunity to transform, to shift your focus, to embrace a new chapter where your happiness is no longer at the mercy of someone else's choice. This is the time to explore what lights you up. Maybe you've always wanted to travel, but you put it off because your life revolved around others. Maybe you had a passion that got buried under responsibilities, art, writing, community work, learning something new. Or maybe this is the time to form new relationships with people who value and respect you for who you are, not just for the role you played in their lives. You are not here to be defined by someone else's presence or absence. You are here to live, to grow, to experience the full depth of life beyond any one relationship. It's time to reclaim that power. When you do, something incredible happens. You no longer feel desperate for the love and approval of those who reject you. Instead, you radiate a kind of confidence that is magnetic. People who truly appreciate and respect you will be drawn to you, and that includes your child. Because when they see that you are no longer dependent on their acceptance to feel whole, they may begin to rethink their own perspective. But here's the key. You don't do this for them. You do this for you, because you deserve to live a life that is rich, fulfilling, and abundant, regardless of who chooses to be in it. You are still here for a reason, and your purpose does not end because someone else cannot see it. In fact, this might just be the moment where you discover it more deeply than ever before. Rejection has a way of cutting deep, making you feel small, forgotten, and unworthy. When that rejection comes from your own child, the one you raised, sacrificed for, and loved without conditions, it can feel like an unbearable wound. The pain is real, and it's tempting to stay stuck in it, replaying every moment, every decision, wondering where things went wrong. But here's the truth. Pain is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. And if you allow it, this moment of rejection can become one of the most powerful turning points in your life. Pain is energy. And like any form of energy, it can be transformed. Right now, that pain might feel overwhelming, like a heavy weight pressing down on you. But what if you could take that same energy and use it as fuel? What if, instead of seeing rejection as an ending, you saw it as an opening, a door leading to a new kind of strength, a new version of yourself that is even more powerful, more resilient, and more fulfilled than ever before? Look at the most inspiring, successful, and impactful people in history. Almost every one of them has faced rejection in some form, personal, professional, or emotional. But the reason we remember their names, the reason their stories inspire us, is because they did not let rejection define them. They transformed it. They took that pain and turned it into purpose. This is your moment to do the same. Right now, you have a choice. You can let this rejection consume you, make you bitter, and keep you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and resentment. Or you can take back your power. You can decide that this pain will be the catalyst for something greater. That instead of letting it weaken you, you will let it forge you into the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself. Think about it. How many times in your life have you faced challenges that at the time seemed impossible to overcome? And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of rising again. This is no different. Yes, it hurts, but pain is not the enemy. Pain is a teacher. It shows you what needs to change, what needs to be let go of, and where your true strength lies. And here's something even more powerful to understand. Sometimes the people who reject us are unknowingly giving us the greatest gift. When someone pushes you away, when they create distance, they are giving you space. Space to reflect, space to grow, space to evolve into something they may not yet be able to understand. Maybe your child doesn't see your value right now. Maybe they are blinded by their own struggles, their own perspectives. That's okay, because their inability to see your worth does not mean that worth does not exist. You do not need their validation to know your own greatness. So what do you do with this pain? You transform it into something meaningful. You stop focusing on what was lost and start focusing on what can be built. Maybe it's time to develop a new skill, find a new passion, or deepen your connection with people who truly appreciate you. Maybe it's time to write your story, to share your wisdom, to become a source of inspiration for others who are struggling just like you are now. The truth is, there is life beyond rejection, there is joy beyond pain, there is fulfillment beyond this moment. But you have to be willing to shift your mindset. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can I grow from this? What can I learn? How can I turn this into something powerful? Because when you start asking the right questions, you start unlocking the right answers. You are not powerless in this situation. You are not a victim. You are someone who has been given an opportunity to rise, to evolve, and to step into a new chapter of life with strength and purpose. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever before. And when you embrace that, nothing, not even rejection, can hold you back. Rejection by your own child can feel like the ultimate loss. It's not just the absence of their presence in your life, it's the loss of an expectation, a vision of the future you had in your mind. You imagined growing older with the security of their love, support, and connection, and now that vision feels shattered. But here's the truth. This is not the end of your legacy. It's a call to build something even greater. It's easy to believe that our impact in life is measured by the people closest to us. That if our own child rejects us, it must mean we have failed in some way. But that's a false belief. Your impact, your influence, and your ability to make a difference do not disappear just because one person chooses to walk away. In fact, sometimes rejection is a sign that your purpose is meant to expand beyond what you originally imagined. Think about the people who have changed the world, not just for their families, but for their communities, their industries, and even humanity as a whole. Their influence did not stop at their immediate relationships. They understood that life is about contribution, about creating something that lasts beyond personal connections. And that's the mindset you must adopt now. Instead of dwelling on the rejection, ask yourself, what can I give? How can I make an impact? What is the legacy I want to leave behind? This is the moment to shift your focus from loss to contribution. If your child has chosen to distance themselves, use that space to build something meaningful. Maybe it's mentoring younger generations who could benefit from your wisdom. Maybe it's sharing your experiences through writing, speaking, or creative expression. Maybe it's giving back to your community in a way that brings you fulfillment. The point is, your purpose is bigger than one relationship. There is power in shifting your energy from what you cannot control to what you can. You cannot control your child's choices, their perceptions, or their emotional journey, but you can control how you respond. You can either let rejection shrink you, or you can let it expand you, and when you choose expansion, you step into a level of fulfillment that no one else, not even your child, has the power to take away from you. And here's something profound. When you focus on building your legacy, you naturally attract people who appreciate and value you. Maybe it's not your child right now, but there are countless people out there who need exactly what you have to offer. People who will see you, respect you, and cherish the wisdom and experience you bring to the world. When you start contributing beyond your personal struggles, you not only heal yourself, but you become a source of healing for others. This is the true blessing hidden in rejection. It forces you to look beyond yourself, beyond your expectations, and into the bigger picture of your life. It pushes you to discover what you are truly capable of when you are no longer defined by one role, one relationship, or one idea of how life was supposed to be. And here's the incredible part. When you embrace this journey, when you step into this new version of yourself, something unexpected often happens. The very people who rejected you begin to see you differently. When you stop seeking their approval and start living with purpose, they may begin to question their own choices. They may start to see the strength, confidence, and independence you've cultivated. They may even come back. But by then, you will have already found your peace, not because they returned, but because you no longer needed them to. Your story is not over. Your legacy is still being written, and this moment, this is just the beginning of something greater than you ever imagined.